Okay, so guys, we have this question and independent term, or I can say the term which is independent of x. The question is saying that find the term independent of x in the expansion. Okay, so we've been given the first one. We've been given before I answer question A. The first thing you're supposed to understand about the independent term, you're supposed to know the general term formula. Okay, so which is given by t r plus 1 is equal to n r a n r br. Okay, so this is the formula. I can say this is the general term formula for finding the term. Okay, the term independent of x. So this is the formula which we are going to be using. Okay, so now the first question, we have question A. So question A, we've been given 2x minus 1 over x to the power 6. Okay, so since we know that the general term is equal to t r plus 1 is equal to n choose r a to the power n minus r br. Okay, so the first thing which you're supposed to do, you're supposed to identify which one is a and which one is b. Okay, so our a is equal to what? Our a is equal to 2x. B, or b, which is negative 1 over x, and n we've been given our n which is equal to, and n which is equal to 6. Okay, so n which is equal to 6. So now the next thing, we're supposed to plug in these values into the general formula, or I can say the general term formula. So this is the general term formula. Okay, so we're going to say t r plus 1 is equal to 6 r. What is our m? Our a which is 2x, so it would be 2x to the power raised to the power 6. What is our n? Our n which is 6 minus 1. And our b which is negative 1 over x to the power what is our r to the power r? Okay, so since we don't know the value of r, okay, so now let me just create some space. So the next thing which we're supposed to do, we're supposed to simplify powers of x. Okay, so we're going to say t r plus 1 is equal to 6 choose r. Inside the parentheses we have 2x. Inside the brackets we have 2x. 6 minus r, negative 1 over x raised to the power r. Okay, so now what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to get the values with x, or I can say the coefficient with x. Okay, so as you can see, let us simplify powers of x. Okay, so to simplify powers of x, we're going to have 6 choose r, 2x to the power 6 minus r. Writing this in a form of a whole number, we're going to have negative. So we have negative 1. You get this negative 1, this one negative 1, then you say x. Okay, so since we are changing the fraction to be the whole number, so it will be to the power negative 1. Then outside the parentheses you raise it to the power r. Okay, so you get this one which is on top, negative 1 x raised to the power negative 1 times r outside the parentheses. Okay, so now the next thing which you're supposed to do, you say you get the values with x. Okay, so I'm gonna get the powers. You get the powers of the values of x. Okay, so I'm gonna get 6 minus r plus negative 1 multiplied by r. Okay, so you're multiplying this. Okay, then you equate it to 0. Then after that you solve for r. So solving for r, so you're going to have 6 minus 2r is equal to 0. So negative 2r is equal to negative 6 over negative 2 over negative 2. Okay, so r will be equal to 3. Okay, so this is the value of r. Okay, so now the next thing, we're supposed to find the term. So what is the term? Which term are we finding? Okay, so to find the term, we're going to use this one. Okay, so you just say t, you add, since we know that t is equal to r plus 1. So you just add 3 plus 1, which is 4. Okay, so our term will be the fourth term. Okay, then now next you just substitute back into the formula 6. What was our r, which is 3, and let me just erase what is on top. Okay, so you just ignore the x, okay, so it will be 2 6 minus what is our r, which is 3. So an independent term is basically a term with no x. Okay, so an independent term is basically a term without x, a term with no x. Okay, so 6, so you're going to ignore x, 6. Okay, so we're going to have negative 1 over 1, since we are ignoring x. Okay, over 1, over 1. Why over 1? Because we are treating x to be 1, since we know that an independent term is basically a term without x. Okay, so it will be raised to the power 3. Okay, so once you do your calculations, what is 6 choose 3, which is 20, multiplied by, when you subtract 6 minus 3, you're going to have 3. Okay, so what is 2 raised to the power 3? You're going to have 8. Okay, then since we know that what is negative 1 raised to the power 3, it's negative 1, so negative 1. Then you multiply, you're going to get 160, negative 160. So this is the term. As you can see, it has no x. Okay, so negative 160. Okay, so I'll just write it here. Term, the fourth term is equal to negative 160, a term without x. Okay, so this is how you answer such question. So you guys, you're going to answer question B and C. So let me just answer D. Okay, so D, as you can see, we have this and that. So the first thing which you're supposed to do, you're supposed to work them out one by one. Okay, so you work them out one by one. You start with the first one. You start with this one. So you say you first find the independent term for each. Okay, the independent term for each. So here it will be to the power 1. Okay, so you just say t r plus 1 is equal to which is 1 choose r, 1 which is n. Okay, then multiply by 3, 1 minus r, our b, which is x over 2 raised to the power r. Okay,